Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bhinneka Online Toastmasters Club. It's our pleasure to welcome you to another club meeting on Sunday. Just a great timing to start your new week. My name is Natalie. I'm acting as AA for today's meeting, and I'm really looking forward to enjoy tonight's meeting with all of you. Make sure you're on camera, as I can see everyone is on camera. And the biggest rule in our club is to have fun. So for that, I will pass over to our club president, Ben, to quickly open the meeting and pass it over to our Toastmaster of the meeting. So please give it up for Toastmaster Ben Whitaker.
All right. Fantastic. I'd like to see a couple things. A lot of new faces. And one thing about this club, Bhinneka Online Toastmasters Club, when it was first created, it was created during the pandemic, of course, and we had an international presence. We had members that were in America. We had members that were from Mauritius and all over Indonesia as well. So having a meeting with just multicultural, different Toastmasters really helps out and brings different perspectives. So that really is exciting. And of course, having an educational speaker is something we haven't had in a while. So that's great as well. Really looking forward to that. All of our guests that Natalie was able to kind of have everyone introduce themselves. So that really saves a lot of time as well. But, I'm really excited for this. And here at Bhinneka, we kind of live by our club values. Little ABC, appreciate our club members, build each other up, celebrate our successes. As a public speaker, I'm always encouraging confidence. And being a teacher in Indonesia, we make mistakes. And Toastmasters is a great place to fall flat on your face because we all have been there. Native speakers, we make mistakes all the time, and there's no reason to ever really apologize unless you offend somebody, which hopefully you don't do. But, we do make mistakes on that, and, that'd be quick. So it's great to have people from everywhere. And I think our theme of the day is a ripple effect. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And I'm going to let our Toastmaster of the day, I believe this is her first time. Is that correct? Toastmaster Nancy, your first time as our Toastmaster of the evening.
Ben.
No, she's the table topics.
Wait, who is it then? Okay.
Me.
It says you're a GE on the thing. Okay. Because it says I'm the Tom on the agenda, which is wrong. All right, there it is. Yeah, Alicia, my bad. Distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Curtis. My bad.
Thank you very much, Ben. Yes, we all make, interesting mistakes, but it's all good. Thank you very much, everyone. And it is a wonderful time this evening to see all of you. Hello to our wonderful guests calling in from all around the world. I think we've got about 4 or 5 different nations here. We've got Indonesia, we've got Australia, we've got Japan and the United States of America. We just need to get people from Europe and Africa, then we can have all Olympic continents here at our meeting. The ripple effect, my friends. What is the ripple effect? I'm going to get one person to shout out. Nancy, what do you think the ripple effect is?
Well, in my opinion, a ripple effect is like a small act that that can influence or make an influence into something that you do. So it's like you do small thing and it influence other or it created impact.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nancy. So ChatGPT, which is of course Rendra's favorite thing, and it saves us a lot of time, and I'm going to save a lot of time for us tonight. ChatGPT, or this morning, wherever you may be. It is something that has an action or an event can cause a series of consequences and the spread outwards, much like ripples in the water when a stone is thrown in. There's 3 examples of the ripple effect, and it can have like social context, economic context, and personal development context. So social, if the person performs a good deed to one, it might inspire for others to do the same. So spreading kindness. Pay It Forward was a fantastic movie back in the day, back in the 90s. Highly recommend watching it. Economic context. If a factory closes in a small town, it may lead to the job losses, but decrease spending and eventually other businesses close, creating the ripple effect from that first outcome. And of course, the personal development context. Learning one new skill, like what we're doing tonight, public speaking, which can improve confidence, which enhances the job opportunities, relationships, networking, and more. So what would you like to see in your ripple effect? It is really important that we think about what is our ripple effect and how we can actually have impact on others' lives through that thing. To save time, I am going to actually introduce all the roles. I've just put that in the chat. Is everyone okay with that? Just so that we can keep the meeting going. Is everyone okay? That's good. All right, so our general evaluator tonight is Keisha. Keisha, thank you very much for taking on the role of general evaluator. Keisha's role will be to introduce the technical team at the end of the meeting, and she'll deliver her feedback for the overall meeting in itself. So she'll provide her report at the end of the meeting when I introduce her. We have the tag team, the timer, the R counter, and grammarian. Our timer tonight is Chris from Surabaya Toastmasters Club. Chris, can you show us your virtual backgrounds, your green, your yellow, and your red, please?
Of course. This is my
Thank you.
green and the yellow and the red background.
Okay, excellent. Now, we do have two speakers tonight, and I will just ask Dr. Dave Cragen if you could please, in the chat directly to me, let us know, or send the timings to Chris so that you can have the virtual backgrounds to reflect your speech. And I believe our other speech will be 5 to 7 minutes from Apri. And of course, the table topics will be 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluations or the evaluation will be 2 to 3 minutes. Very much appreciated. So thank you very much, Chris, for joining us. Chris will be a table topics finalist at the District 87 final in the coming weeks. So congratulations, Chris, and well done. Our R counter and my man in waiting, I absolutely adore him, Mr. Rendra himself, the king of R counting, will deliver his R counter report. The R counter is the one who looks at the use of the lexical and non-lexical fillers, and it will be delivered on an Excel spreadsheet. Thank you very much, Rendra. It is our favorite role. He and I absolutely love that role. So please be prepared, and be prepared to be scared for the ripple effect that you are going to experience. And of course, last but not least is our grammarian. Our grammarian tonight is Ben Whitaker. Ben is our president. Ben's word of the day that he has chosen is multiple or multiply. Ben, if you can just give us a definition and description of the word, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll get you to unmute yourself. I think he's going to put it into the chat for us, which would be great. Let's have a look.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Caught me off guard. All right, multiply or multiple, it just means more than one or many. Right? So more than one or many, a good example sentence. She has multiple jobs, an adjective. If it's used in a noun, a multiple of a number is a result of multiplying it by the integer. So it could be an adjective or a noun, depending on how you use it. And I'll put it in the chat for sure.
Thank you very much for that, Ben. So please use the word multiple or multiply, depending on the context that you're using it tonight, because we want to multiply our chances and the opportunity for that ripple effect. I've just seen the picture. Just as a heads up, we do take pictures intermittently throughout the course of the meeting. And if you have RBF, which is resting bitch face like I had in the picture previously, don't worry, we will get an opportunity at the end of the meeting to have a beautiful smile. So if we want to do a beautiful smile now, we can do our lovely Kodak moments if everyone wants to have a smile. So I'll just see if Masayo is going to come back. All right, let's have a look. All right, if we can all have our beautiful faces, why not actually do a picture? Mr. Chris, we want to see a gorgeous face, a gorgeous smile, and Apri, beautiful smile. So Rendra, could you please take a photo of us actually looking happy to be here?
Of course. So everyone, please give me your happy face because I would like to take a photos of all of you. Okay? Just prepare yourself with a happy face. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I got it.
Thank you, Rendra. All right, we will take formal photos throughout the meeting, but I just wanted to start us off onto a good note because it's always important to have a beautiful smile and a beautiful Kodak moment. That was something that we used to say back in the 90s and the noughties. I can't believe we're saying that still. Anyway, are we excited about tonight's meeting? About the chance of multiplying our efforts, having fun, and most importantly, having that ripple effect that we can create. All right. I just want to confirm with our speaker and our timer, we're all aware of timing for the speech. Chris, can you just give me a thumbs up to say that you can confirm that you're happy with the timings that have been provided to you? Okay, excellent. All right, so we are about to go on our way into our journey, and we are starting with our educational speaker coming all the way from Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, the United States of America. Philadelphia is the home, of course, of the Hershey's Bar, and it's also going to be the host of the International Convention for 2025. So hopefully one of our people here, Natalie, will actually get through and be able to go to the USA this year to represent District 87. But none the least, let's go back to our keynote speaker tonight. Our speaker is calling in, as I said, from Philadelphia, United States, and his name is Dr. Dave Cragen. He is a distinguished Toastmaster and has been a member of Toastmasters for more than 20 years. He's currently serving as the Senior Director of Occupational and Environmental Sciences in the Department of Environment, Health, Safety, and Sustainability at Teva, I think it's Teva Pharmaceutical. Previously, he has served as a Director in Quality Assurance and multiple other roles for Merck & Co. Outside of Teva, he teaches risk assessment. Oh man, that is one of my things because I used to be a risk manager myself. Critical thinking for Peking Toastmasters, Peking University and Beijing Normal University. He speaks Chinese and small amounts of many other languages and has received his PhD in pharmacology and toxicology from the University of California, Davis, his Bachelor of Science in Zoology from the University of Rhode Island, and is a diplomat of the American Board of Toxicology. Please welcome Dr. David Cragen with High Impact Communication. High Impact Communication. Please welcome Dr. David Cragen. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Lisa. And I'm here because Natalie is such an interesting, enjoyable person. I had to help her club. And it's a pleasure. One of the very few good things of the pandemic is Toastmasters Online and being able to visit different clubs. Saya mengerti bahasa Indonesia sedikit. I only know a little bit of Indonesian. All right, high impact communication skills. High impact communication. One of my first jobs out of school, my boss sat me down. He said to me, "It doesn't matter what you say, it matters what people remember." Now, when you hear that, you think, well, it has to be right. And the answer is, of course it has to be right. But if people remember what you said incorrectly, the impact is the same as giving them wrong information. He said to me, look, if one of our employees is injured because they misunderstood you, that's your fault. He stays in my mind every time I talk now, every time I give a talk. What are people going to remember? And if you like this topic a lot, the best book ever on this subject is called Made to Stick. And I'll be covering some of its ideas today, but absolutely superb book on this topic. So with high impact communication, what are ways to make things memorable? Ways to use high impact communication in the working world? And techniques for effective communication. I'm giving you an excerpt of a longer talk I have on this topic. Okay, ways to make things memorable. Tell a story. I used to work for Merck Sharp and Dohme, MSD, the pharmaceutical company, and one of our top executives was Julie Gerberding. She was former head of CDC's, Center for Disease Control. And she talked to my previous organization maybe 8 years ago. And she told the story of being in a hospital in Vietnam where there was a 7-year-old boy on a manual ventilator. A manual ventilator meant that someone in his family needed to be in the hospital 24 hours a day, pumping the manual ventilator so he could breathe. Why? Because he was swimming in a river He cut his foot and he got tetanus. He didn't, if he had gotten a tetanus vaccine that would have cost 7 cents, it would have protected him. Now, Julie could have gone into vaccine statistics, talk about tetanus toxin, all these technical things. But by telling this story about this 7-year-old kid, I'll probably remember it forever. And the fact that he didn't get a vaccine that costs 7 cents. Telling stories is powerful. Don't lecture, ask questions. My first job out of school was with the oil company Exxon. And although sometimes their public image is not good, the company itself is very well run and is one of the most safest companies in the world. We had a 9-hour defensive driving class. And the instructor said to us, "What would it do to your life if you killed the neighbor's kid because you were driving too fast in the neighborhood?" The reason this is powerful is because if he had just said, "Don't drive fast in the neighborhood, you might kill a neighbor's kid," most of us would think, "I'm a safe driver." But by putting it in question form, it pops up in my mind. It still happens. If I drive in a neighborhood and there's a bunch of cars parked where a kid could run out, I think about that. I think about it because it's a question. And this was a course I took over 20 years ago. Clarity wins over detail. You want to avoid the cafeteria style approach to communication. This is where you give the audience everything. You hope they pick out what matters. You're the expert. You pick out what matters. If people want to know details, they can ask you. Be ready to back it up. But you pick out what matters. And if this is of interest to you, this blog goes into this in more detail. But this is something I work a lot. I'm a scientist. I work a lot with scientists. Sometimes they want to give the audience everything. And the key is picking out what matters. Clarity in communication. The Nobel laureate Gunther Blobel said, "I don't think there is any concept you can't make understandable to the educated lay public." I always tell my students and postdocs, if you can't explain to your grandmother what you're doing, you probably don't understand it yourself properly. And I saw this firsthand in a Society for Risk Analysis meeting. There was a professor from Canada that gave a talk on brain morphometry. If you've never heard of morphometry, don't worry. I had never heard of it either. I mean, in school, I took countless classes on toxicology, on neurotoxicology. We never learned the word morphometry. Yet Wallstrom knew the subject so well, he made it simple and easy to understand. Next to me was an economist from the Office of Management and Budget. And when Wallstrom was done speaking, the economist looked at me excitedly and said, "I understood everything he said." So here's an extremely arcane topic discussed in a simple way to an economist. That's what I strive for in my talk. And this is important whether you're talking to executives, line employees, anyone. You strive for clarity in communication. Credibility and trust matter much. If they don't trust you, facts are irrelevant. Build trust by focusing on others' concerns and perspectives. For example, early in my career at MSD, I had to go to one of our manufacturing sites to talk about their use of personal protective equipment, like using a respirator. And this was a factory that ran 24 hours a day. And the third shift went from midnight until 8 a.m. Now, if I had picked a convenient time for me to give the talk, I would have given it at 7 a.m. But the site industrial hygienist was a really insightful guy. He scheduled me to talk at midnight. And when I got there, he explained why. He said, he goes, everybody on site knows I got a guy from corporate to give a talk at midnight. And he said, by speaking at midnight, you're going to be catching that shift fresh, right when they start working, rather than at the end when they're thinking about getting away from work. And also, too, you're meeting them on their time. And his idea, I'm sure, had a benefit to all of the talks that I gave, because to all of them, they knew that I was someone willing to speak at midnight to them on a health and safety issue. Be concise. You're the expert. You decide what information matters. Credibility and trust matter more than facts. There's a risk communicator named Peter Sandman. Amazing guy. Even 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, his charge rate was the highest I had seen. He would charge $650 to $850 an hour if you want to hire him as a consultant. But he was paid that much because he's a very powerful speaker, the way he said things. Here's an example from him. It's hard for people to make an independent judgment of the carcinogenicity of dimethyl meatloaf, but they think they know a liar when they see one. And he's true. He's correct. When I'm speaking about toxicology, it's really important to be credible, because if people think I'm misleading them, they'll get angry. Facts are meaningless without credibility and trust. It's more easily established with an internal audience. So if I'm speaking within my company, and it's established with regulators and the public via long-term and ongoing interactions. In terms of communicating risk, you want to understand the audience's concern. What specific issue might affect that individual, the public or a regulator? What's in the news? When I spoke at that manufacturing site I mentioned at the beginning, something important to them was keeping their jobs. They didn't want to lose their jobs. And I actually wrote down some of their concerns at the beginning of each talk so we could have that level of understanding. We all have bosses. We want to look good to our bosses. If any of you are in a job where you work with regulators, regulators are concerned because they have their superiors, the public, and politicians as their bosses. If you're going to meet with an agency, it's good to know that agency's priorities or mission. I, at one point, met with China's Ministry of Environmental Ecology, and it was about an environmental regulation that we didn't think was practical. We didn't think would help people or the environment. But when we went in to meet with them, though, we knew that in China, innovation was a priority of the government. So we discussed how this rule could impact negatively innovation in China, and they ultimately changed the rule. So knowing what's their mission is, knowing what's important to them is really valuable. Some techniques for effective communication. Begin with an engaging question you will answer. Example, why do we need to spend $5 million on controls not required by regulations? And if you're going to propose something to your company, to an outside company, and it's something they don't need to do, asking that question up front will immediately grab their attention, immediately get them interested to hear what you're going to say. With senior executives and other management, consider starting with conclusions. This idea was actually in an old Toastmaster manual before Pathways. And I like this idea. And then a friend of mine who had an executive coach, she recommended it too. And before MSD, I worked for Arkema, which is a French-owned chemical company, and I had to make a presentation to the board. And when I came in, everybody's like sitting back on their seats, only partially engaged, and they probably thought Dave's going to go through Dave's a PhD, he'll go through all this stuff before we get to anything that's of interest. I started with my conclusions, and they immediately all sat up. I had their interest. And this sometimes works on other talks too. Start with your conclusions because it can help the audience know where you're going with the talk. And focus on the big picture, but be ready to provide details. So don't focus on details, give them the big picture. Start with things you can say with certainty. For example, if in the United States, if the Food and Drug Administration has said something, it's strong to say they consider this drug versus starting with uncertainties by talking about what you're not sure about a drug or something else. And we don't want to write, like in my company, we wouldn't want to write Teva thinks, our analysis shows, we demonstrated, because it suggests that if someone else did an analysis, the results would be different. It's much better to say the data shows or analysis of the data shows, not our analysis of the data. Think about cultural issues. At one point, actually many times at MSD, we invited the Chinese NMPA in a collaborative visit. They're the equivalent, they're the Food and Drug Administration in China. And we had them in to exchange information, to build connections. And the first several times I did it, it was women, a small group of women. But the third time we had about 20 people, many of whom were men. And by the end of the first day, the room got quite tense. And there was nothing to be tense about. We were just exchanging information. And then a coworker of mine pointed out that, it was just getting, it was getting tense. But at the end of the meeting, when we ended the meeting, suddenly a whole bunch of them almost ran to the smoking area. In the United States, most sites have very few smoking areas. They needed a smoking break. We wouldn't have imagined that a regulatory agency involved in health would have that many smokers, but it did. So for future visits, we organized a smoking break, even though as a toxicologist, I'd cringe at the idea of smoking. Okay. You want to, when you're talking, avoid company-specific acronyms and abbreviations. Most well-known abbreviations aren't well-known, and non-familiar abbreviations can make the listener have to translate twice if it's in their second language. And it's even problematic for English speakers. My very first meeting at first week at MSD, I was in a meeting with my boss. He had been in the company 27 years, and another colleague had been there about 10 years. We're talking with a manufacturing site. They used abbreviation after abbreviation after abbreviation. I'm the new guy. I can't keep saying, what's that mean? What's that mean? So finally, at the end of the meeting, My boss puts the phone down and looks at both of us and goes, I didn't understand half of what they said. So he'd been at the company 27 years, but still didn't know all the acronyms. So that's true really in any company. Be careful with acronyms and abbreviations. Be concise. It facilitates understanding and forces you to identify key points. This is one of the great values of Toastmasters 5 to 7 minute talks, that it's giving a short talk really pushes you to say, what are the key points I'm going to make it during this time? If you're writing verbose documents, give more opportunities for, make it harder to translate and more opportunities for error. When you're writing a memo, you want to keep a paragraph to 6 to 10 lines, emails 2 to 3 lines. Anybody know why you want to keep an email to just 2 to 3 lines? Why you keep it short like that? Each paragraph?
So you can see the key message right away.
The key message. Also, too, have you ever gotten an email with a very long paragraph? WD Communications talks about how that ices out the reader. When we get a really long email, a lot of people read the first sentence and the last sentence and skip everything in between. Keeping short paragraphs helps keep the reader engaged. Techniques for online meetings. Use video when possible. If you're going to use PowerPoint, start by showing yourself, then open up your PowerPoints. Also, elevate your laptop so that when you're speaking, you're not looking down, but instead you're looking up. Assume the audience can see everything. Is your background well organized? Are you well groomed? There's a LinkedIn learning course by Jessica Chen, and she says, we tend to think, oh, online, you can't really see people. She goes, it's better to assume people can see everything. And I agree with that. So this is a great course if you have access to LinkedIn Learning. And then the best course on LinkedIn Learning I've seen is Public Speaking Skills for Non-Native English Speakers by Peter Novick. At my company, it's a very international company. On my team, only one of my 4 team members is a native English speaker. And every day I interact with people from many, many different countries. This course was really helpful for me understanding challenges of presenting in other languages, but it's certainly good for non-native English speakers. And then, as you do in Toastmasters, use pauses for power and translation. When I started teaching at Peking University, I would teach from 8:30 to 5. And the first year I had a translator. That slows things way down because you have to stop every moment to let the translator translate. But I use a lot of pauses. And after the first year, they said, oh, you don't need a translator. And it saved a lot of time to be able to go without a translator. Okay. Just checking if, okay, on time. All right. So what can you do? Use simple techniques to increase the impact of your talks. Remember, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters what people remember. Clarity wins over detail. Focus on the interests and needs in others. And I didn't cover this, but your Toastmasters, you'll probably hear this. Ignore it if someone tells you that 7% of your message is based on your words, 38% on vocal and body language. This simply is not true. The Professor Moravian, never said this. I've seen whole books based on this idea. And if you stop and think about it, can you really communicate everything or except 7%? Could you communicate all of these ideas not knowing another language? You can communicate 93% of your message. You can't. Okay. So, and then participate in Toastmasters and build your skills. I thought I'd stop for a moment of Q&A if anybody has any questions, comments.
Anyone has any questions or comments? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask David directly. David, I have a question.
Yeah.
For some of us who work with like a lot of technical jargons, what are some tips that you can give to bridge that communication? Because sometimes we don't understand exactly the jargons as an audience, but then it was not explained.
Well, I think what you just said is key, that sometimes when you're giving a talk, you have to use technical jargon. And that's provide a definition for it for the audience in a simple way. When I was in graduate school, they joked about, one of the professors was joking about that. Rather than saying liver cell, you say hepatocyte. Now, hepatocyte is just a technical way to say liver cell. And he was giving examples like that. But for me, if I'm going to give a talk to non-toxicologists, and sometimes even to toxicologists, using that simpler term if it's available, and if a simpler term isn't available, give them a definition up front. All right, if there are no more comments, we can go forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. David Cragen. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Let's unmute ourselves. That was a really...
Unmute.
Yay!
We thank you so much. We have expert in our club tonight. We thank you so much.
Thank
More
you
than
so
happy.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I'm sure if you have any questions, please directly place them into the chat directly to Dr. David Cragen, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer them. We are now going to continue on with the program. We have one prepared speaker tonight, and that is, of course, Apri. Apri will be delivering from level 1, the evaluation and feedback, and his speech evaluator is Natalie Chahyadi. Natalie, if you want to introduce Apri, thank you.
So Apri here is speaking from his project, level 1, evaluation and feedback. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. The title is The Leadership, and the purpose is to learn the basic of evaluation and how to give feedback appropriately. And this is like the first part of that project. So with 5 to 7 minutes, speech title, The Leadership. Please welcome Toastmaster Apri Widodo.
Before I start, is my sound clear?
Yes, we can see you and hear you. Thank you, Apri.
Okay. Hello, Toastmaster. Today, I'm going to talk about something that we are really familiar about, which is leadership. Because leadership is something that is really vital in organization. With good leadership skill, you can turn a team of introverts into a room full of karaoke champion. Well, maybe not a karaoke champion, but at least you will get them talking. I learned a lot of my leadership skill in Toastmaster by becoming a club president, also through completing Toastmaster educational program called High Performance Leadership at level 5. In this project, I learned a lot about how to manage people, how to improve my time management skill, and let's not forget the most important lesson is how to make difficult decisions. And as a bonus, by learning leadership, it can also develop my self-trust. Self-trust is like believing in yourself. It means knowing that you are awesome and can do a great thing. When you trust yourself, you listen to your own thought and feeling and believe that what you think is right. Heaven is telling you to wear your pajamas all day. It's up to you. I remember when I was in junior school, every time the teacher asked a question in a class, I always wait for my friend to answer it first, even though I already knew the answer. For example, when the teacher asks a question like, anyone know what is 1 plus 1? It's very easy, right? But instead of answering the question, I start looking around and pretend to write something on paper. And maybe if I pretend to write something, the teacher will not pick me. Because I'm so afraid and I'm looking for confirmation from my other friend so before I actually believe it. If you raise your hand if you ever experienced this before. Anyone? No? And something is something that blocking you within that to do something that you want to do. On the other hand, actually it is it's a good thing because we want to make sure that we are doing is correct. However, on the other side, it also limits us to be more innovative and expressive since we don't trust ourselves and looking for other people to validate our decision. Because growing is very hard. In Toastmasters, I experienced this quite often, especially when I first time becoming a president. I start overthinking, yes, I'm ready for this. Can I become a better leader for my team? What if my club and manage crumble like a cookie under pressure? So basically, there's a lot of negative thought hitting in my brain. Becoming a president or even area director now forced me to expand my comfort zone. And by comfort zone, I mean my love for avoiding responsibility. It made me learn how to rely on myself, especially when it comes to making a difficult decision that affect other on my team. Having self-trust can help me tremendously to make a decision easy. It can save me a lot of time and energy so that I can focus on developing other area in my life. Another thing is if you are a decisive, people start looking for you for approval and validation, which is pretty nice. I remember when one of the club member asked me about the date for a club contest. Before I answering, I had to ask to other members too, because I don't have a magical power to read everyone mind. For example, we do a voting so that we could decide when the right date for the contest will be. So everyone at least be happy. And all in all, leadership is not an easy path. It requires resilience, empathy, and the willingness to make a tough decision. It is a lifelong journey and opportunity to make a difference. And all in all, thank those Toastmasters community for giving me the tool how to become a good leader, not only to someone who can flawlessly say the meeting is adjourned. Back to our Toastmaster community.
Thank you very much, Apri, and very interesting perspective on leadership. And yeah, and everyone comes here. How many actually, I just want to ask out of curiosity, how many people joined Toastmasters to do leadership? Isn't that interesting? There you go. Not one single person in this meeting joined to become a leader. How many of you joined for communication, confidence, and public speaking? Put your hands up. Every single hand just went up. Okay. It pretty much explains Toastmasters. I think there has been a bit of, in the probably last 5 years from experience, there's been a shift and a buck in the trend of only being speaking and leadership, because it has been communicated, but communication, speaking, and confidence are what most people come to Toastmasters for, because that's what we're known for. Thank you very much for the timing. So Apri has spoken for 5 minutes and 17 seconds, so he qualifies as our best speaker tonight. Thank you very much, Apri. I'm now going to hand over to our table topics master, Nancy. Nancy, are you feeling the ripple-on effect of leadership and good communication tonight?
Pardon, can you repeat?
Are you feeling the ripple effect of good communication skills and leadership here at this meeting tonight?
Yes, exactly. I
Excellent.
feel like everyone has a good communication skills, and all our future leaders, or they are already become a leader today. Okay, thank you, Toastmaster of the meeting, Alicia Curtis, for welcoming me. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Nancy, and tonight I'm serving as your table topic master. Our today's meeting theme is the ripple effect. Well, in this section in table topic, we will learn to answer the questions without preparing. I think all Toastmaster, we have known that. So I will be given the questions to everyone here. All of you are welcome. And you need to answer the question between 1 until 2 minutes. Remember that we come here in Toastmaster to practice, to make a progress. And table topic meeting is one of, I would say, one of the opportunity for us to learn and to sharpen our skills. And I will also encourage everyone, because table topic is one of the most exciting meeting of this portion. Well, without any further ado, anyone who would like to volunteer to answer the table topic questions?
Give me first.
Okay, Toastmaster Rendra as our counter. Okay, let me copy the question first.
Huh.
Okay, Toastmaster Rendra, has someone's advice or feedback ever changed your perspective? How did it ripple out? Toastmaster Rendra, has someone's advice or feedback ever changed your perspective? How did it ripple out? You can start whenever you're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, good evening. In every game that I involved in, I tried my best to be the winner. It's not all games, but almost all games. Yes, I determined myself to be the winner. Until one day, once moments, one of my best friends came to me and said, "Hey bro, I know that you are very positive and you are very energetic, and yet you are very friendly. But do you know, if you tried yourself to win in every games, every competitions, every meetings, whatever, discussions, debates, it means that somebody else will lose, correct?" I answered, yes. I think there's no one want to be losers all the time with you, and you will lose friends. I just realized, that could be true. If I tried myself to win all the things, and I might lose friends. So that's why I lose some things that it's okay. I just give it, and I keep the friendship. Somehow it works that way in Indonesia, but I don't know if it works in international levels. Yes, I've kept friends of mine in a certain topics because if I tried my best to win all the debates, arguments, and etc., I might lose one of them. So that's already changed me. The ripple effects is I have good friends, and they not do not be to be losers close to me, and they are winner, and somehow I'm happy for that. So yeah, that's all. Nancy, time is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rendra, for a wonderful speech. Yeah, sometimes we have to sacrifice something to get something. And that's okay. Like sometimes other people's happiness is also our happiness. So when we see people happy, we feel the happiness as well. Thank you, Toastmaster Rendra, for your response. Okay, I still have 4 questions. Now I would like to over to our PTM, Toastmaster, our fellow Toastmaster from Japan. Maybe Toastmaster Messiah, do you want to try?
Sure, I'll try.
Thank you. Okay, let me take the question. Okay, Toastmaster Messiah, your question is, what is one habit you started to change your life? What is one habit you started to change your life? Don't forget to use the word of the day, multiple. You can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. It's very hard for me to choose one of my habits of which I started to change my life. I think that I'll try. I have started to be more confident in public. When I was very young, I was very shy girl. It was very difficult for me to present my opinions to my friends in public. And in class, I did not want to raise my hands because I was very afraid of making mistakes. However, I think I changed these bad habits after visiting the United States for the first time. It was 2 months teaching program. I participated and I had many opportunities to practice making public speeches under the instruction from the professors. They gave lots of good advice, such as trust myself, don't be afraid of making mistakes, even in public. Nobody blamed you. And also after that, after I made a speech, I gave some constructive feedback from the audience. That gave me a lot of encouragement. I believe since then, I have become more and more confident about being outside of my comfort zone. So that was a good habit for me to start to change my life. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Messiah, for sharing your experience. And yeah, you also inspired me because I was also afraid to, presenting my ideas in class back at that time. But now I also learned to, to present my ideas, to be brave. And I believe that when we are in a perfect place where all the people are supportive, we can take a step to make a to be brave. Just like in Toastmaster, this is a safe place for us to practice and to be brave. Thank you for sharing your experience. Now I would like to invite our visiting Toastmaster Ray Ioni. Do you want to try? Okay. Let me paste the question. Okay, there is a quote from John Kennedy. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. Toastmaster Ray Ioni, the time is yours. You can start whenever you feel ready.
Okay, so I have multiple multiple people who make me can make a difference. Yes, people. I met one person. He who was who was the English British man. So he when I was so I'm 40 year now, and so when I was 28-year old, one man, one guy was at Starbucks, and then every week he sat next on my table, and then he wrote down many Chinese character kanji, so all days, and then I also sat on the table next on him. I learned about the yes, I just worked at the with laptop, and so and then he one day he asked me, so what I so please please let me know how to write down this Chinese character, and then I started we became we became friends and with him, and then he wanted to learn Japanese from me, and then but at the time I couldn't speak English at all, so I was not interested about learning English at the time. But after 1 year later, so I asked him why you wanted to become friend with me. So he said, I am so I what you are not you are not using me. So it's meaning yes, not using English teacher about him. So at the time I found out myself I should start learning English at the time. So and then yes, so so now after that I started to learn English, speaking English, and then so I'm here now. So thank you very much. Back to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray Ioni, for sharing your experience and also your experience with your friends. And now you are learning English. I'm also learning English because English is my second language. But yeah, we learn together. And I believe that English is fun. So just enjoy it. Okay, now I'm going to invite Toastmaster Naomi. Do you want to try? Okay, let me copy the question. Toastmaster Leonie, the question is how the question is how has a stranger ever made your day better? How has a stranger ever made your day better? Toastmaster Naomi.
Hi, everyone. Stranger. So I'm starting as a tourist guide in Japan now. And most of inbound people from all over the world, especially American, Australian, Indians, and Canadian. And every tour, I met so many different kinds of people. I mean, background, different culture, and a different generation, of course. And nowadays, I used to have same generation seniors around after retiring to the eldest one, 92 years old American lady. So they are very uh, passionate to travel in other country, other culture. And every time I've heard their opinion, Japan is so clean, no, trash on the road. Everywhere very clean, and also no trash bin on the street. Why? They ask me every time. So after the Tokyo Olympic, we don't have any trash bin on the street. So that's why we need to bring back our own trash to the hotel or to our home. So that is the answer for it. But they sometimes ask me, so school kids very, line up right away. So why do they stand in a line? So because we used to practice stand in line since we were very little, especially maybe kindergarten. So we are accustomed to, no difficulty with it. But during the tour with foreign people in Japan, quite difficult for counting because over 30 people in one bus. I needed to count every time. So they don't stand in a line like a Japanese at all. So quite a hard time to counting. So you mean the stranger sometimes sounds strange, but sometimes make me very I could see the different viewpoints in my idea. So sometimes the stranger makes me very happy. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naomi, for sharing your response in this table topic session. Yes, sometimes we meet with people, yeah, with these strangers, and they bring the happiness, the joy in our life. Maybe that day we felt like, this is a bad day, but we unexpectedly meet strangers, and they make our day even better. Okay, I still have one question left. If any role takers who wants to try to participate. Okay,
Can we give one to Chris as well after Ben? So I think we have time to do two. Yeah, thanks.
okay. Ben, oh, okay, so now we'll go with Ben. So the question is, let me see. Okay. The question is, what is one compliment you will never forget? What is one compliment you will never forget? Toastmaster Ben. And don't forget to use the word of the day, multiply.
2 plus 2 is 4. I know my multiples. Yes, 2 at least. What a great question. And let me ask this, right? As someone who studied psychology, we always have this kind of scenario like where a psychologist, therapist would ask, what do you think your friends would say about you? Right? If you're a fly on the wall. And the idea is we never really know. And we typically the 5 things that you would say kind of, they jumble them together and it kind of tells you a little bit about yourself. Like, are you narcissistic? Are you self-aware? But what if you actually found out? Here is the greatest compliment I've ever had. As Rendra said earlier, I was in the Army, which allows me to not like people very much. They annoy me a lot of times. And when I was working in the US and I was working at Verizon and I was going to school, finishing my master's degree. And we had this new manager. Right. The one that didn't hire me as a manager, she's really bouncy and really jovial and hey, Ben, I want to get to know you. I'm like, okay, not my flavor. So I told her, I'm like, hey, the manager that we're actually really good friends. So go ask him when you guys have a manager meeting, go ask him how I feel. So a week later, she comes back, Ben, I asked him. Here's what he said. He's like, okay, let me explain Ben. Ben is a guy that if you ask him to pick you up at the airport and take you at 6 o'clock, he'll be there at 5, but he'll bitch and complain the whole entire time. What this means is I'm loyal. If you ask me to do something, I'll be there early, but I am going to let you have it, right? I don't want to be there, but I'm going to be there. And I told my mom this, and she actually started crying because, it's kind of like me. I'm a loyal friend. I'm going to help you, but you're going to hear my opinion no matter the situation. Growing up in Arizona, people would ask me to move. Do not ask me to move in July, June, July, August. And don't ask me to do it in the afternoon. In the morning, let's get it done. Go home, eat pizza, drink beer. So that was the greatest compliment I've ever had. Back to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ben, for your response. That's such a great story. Loyal. I agree with that. Okay, now we have one question left for Toastmaster Chris. Anyone can help be the timer?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. Toastmaster Chris, let me copy the question first. And don't forget to use the word of the day. Okay, wait. Okay. Toastmaster Chris, there is a quote from Oscar Wilde. The smallest act of kindness is worth more than the grandest intention. The smallest act of kindness is worth more than the grandest intention. Toastmaster Chris.
Yeah, so the last time I went on holiday was actually before COVID in 2018. And at that time, I was going on a solo trip to Singapore. And on the MRT, I was alone, and this girl approached me, right? And we talked and we exchanged numbers. And we got off the train at different places. But what I don't realize is not having her number was not the greatest thing that happened to me that day. You know what? What is the greatest thing? Is that I left my wallet on the MRT, but then that girl took the wallet and she texted me and gave it to me the next day. And that was one of my memorable memory of my travel. Why? Because my intention of knowing her and asking for her number actually means a lot more than just getting her number. It's getting my wallet back. So we don't ever know in our life that every act that we do, every moment that we experience in our life always leads to something more than that. So everyone, every time we do something or someone do something for us, we must remember that there's more to that, and we can always learn for everything that happened in our life. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chris, for your answer. Yes, it's true. Sometimes things that we consider just a small thing, but it can bring change into our life. Like even though it is small, but let's Toastmaster Chris experience. It only small, but it changes the whole life. Okay, fellow Toastmasters, thank you for having me as your table topic master, and thank you for letting me to hear all of your stories, your response during this table topic session. I can learn, and I believe that we can learn from each of the speaker tonight. And now I would like to give the control back to Toastmaster Alicia. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, we are now well ahead of time, and I'm just going to read out all the table topics times. They're in the chat, and everyone is eligible except for Benjamin. Oh, actually, yep, Ben's no, you're eligible. Don't worry. I was just testing you. I was just seeing if you were going to get angry like you do in the car at the airport. No, testing you, sir. Okay, Naomi and Ray, unfortunately, because you are speaking over time, we do go for the timing from the table topics contest, which is 1 minute to 2 minutes with the 30 seconds over. So congratulations in participating in our meeting tonight, but you are overqualified. But that's okay. You did a wonderful job, both of you. So Rendra, Masayo, Benjamin and Christopher are all eligible to be the best table topic speaker. Please put your votes directly to Natalie, and she will cast the votes and she will confirm the winners. All right, she's been sitting very quietly in the background. We haven't heard from her all meeting except for hello when she introduced herself at the beginning. Please welcome our general evaluator tonight, Keisha. Thank you, Keisha. Take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Once again, I'm Keisha. I am serving as the GE for tonight's meeting. So I have been in the background, but I've just been overseeing each session and how it went and all the role takers as well. So I will be giving my evaluation, but before that, I would love to call on all of the role takers, amazing role takers tonight. First, let's go to our Mr. Accounter, Toastmaster Rendra, to give his evaluation.
Yeah, thank you, GK Jacqueline. I would like to share something that I love the most. Ladies and gentlemen, be
Stop talking.
subscribed. Yes.
Got to do the evaluation for the speech. Stop talking.
Okay, here we go.
Huh?
I am expecting that you are seeing my slides.
No, Rendra,
Wait,
we have to do the
Rendra.
speech evaluation. Stop talking.
Oh my God.
Natalie is first.
All right, ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen,
cool.
my sincerest apologies. I did overlook that. We have another session before all of the amazing role takers tonight. So please, the speech evaluator for tonight's prepared speech, Toastmaster Natalie.
Thank you, Madam GE. And Toastmaster Afri, wow, what a call of leadership. Thank you for such an inspirational speech. From your speech, I learned 3 things that I thoroughly enjoy. The first one was your use of humor. When you said turning introverts into a karaoke champion, I was laughing. And humor is a great tool to provide emotional relief for the audience, as well as to connect with the audience. So you got me at that. The second thing that I enjoy was your personal story. When you share your struggles of doing leadership in Toastmasters, I could see myself in your story and I could totally relate with you. Personal story is great when you want to relate with your audience. And the third thing that I enjoy was your word choices. Did you notice that Toastmaster Apri used an analogy like crumble, like cookie under pressures. And those kind of analogy and word choices help us to vividly imagine the situation and helps us to enjoy the story even more. To improve and multiply the impact of the speech, I would like to suggest 3 things. The first one is to improve your online presence. Presence multiply engagement. And you can do this with 2 things. The first one is making sure the eye contact is straight to the camera. In this case, because this is an online meeting, look straight to the camera on your laptop. And the second thing is to use purposeful gestures. So instead of doing awkward gestures halfway there on the bottom of the screen, use stronger and clearer gestures to illustrate the points that you're trying to make. That will be more memorable. The second thing I would like to suggest is to add emphasis. I noticed that throughout the whole speech, you spoke in quite a monotonous tone. Sometimes I miss out which part is important, which part is less important. So my suggestion is to give signal to the audience by adding emphasis. And you can do this by playing with pause and also pacing when you're speaking. So for example, when you say at the end, leadership, it's a process and it is not easy, but we all can learn and grow when we become a leader. Such a big difference when you add emphasis, because emphasis multiplies impact. And the third thing I would like to recommend is to practice enunciation. And this is more for your future speeches, because I noticed that some words, I couldn't really get it, maybe because it's not just pronunciation, but I noticed that you didn't open your jaw big enough. So my suggestion, when you practice your speaking, really open your mouth and your jaw. So when you do this, it will help you to enunciate better. And when you enunciate better, it multiplies clarity. So overall, this is an inspirational speech, excellent humor, personal story, and word choices, improve on online presence, emphasis, and also enunciation, and your speech will reach a greater height of inspiration. Back to you.
Yes, thank you so much for the evaluator, Miss Natalie. It was very insightful. Now we will head on to the role takers. I'm just gonna first call on Ben as the grammarian for tonight, because he will have another agenda after this. Please, Mr. Ben.
All right. Thank you very much. And sorry, Marendra. But yeah, David, we do like to call each other out. One of our other members, her name is Pippin. She calls me out all the time. It's a good relationship of trust and accountability. Okay. I love Rendra. All right. What a great meeting so far. So we're going to go in with the grammarian report about, again, things that are good, things that we can improve on. And well, David, he had a lot of really good quotes that I like to use with some of my students. So it really kind of clicked. And clarity wins over details. The message, no matter what you're doing, is can you be clear? Doesn't matter if you're explaining quantum physics or, addition, right? It's if you're clear, your message is clear, people are going to grasp it, which is really important. Next, he mentioned credibility matters over facts. And again, Americans, we don't typically like talking about politics, Rendra, but credibility, if you have credibility with whatever your constituents is, people will follow you no matter what. They don't even care if you're lying to them. Even in the back of their head, they know it. Because again, it's connecting and building a rapport with somebody. So if you can build that credibility, 4 out of 5 doctors say don't brush your teeth. Incredible, right? Doctor said so. All right. Knowing what is important, again, this is really key. Knowing your audience and knowing what is important, something David said, really key. And in one of his quotes, he also mentioned, if you can explain it to your grandma, if you can't explain it to your grandma, you probably don't understand it. As a teacher, I say, if you can't explain it to a kindergartner, you probably don't understand it as well. And one of his first quotes, I kind of missed it here. It doesn't matter what people say, but it matters what they remember. It's kind of like a quote from Maya Angelou. People will forget your name, forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So being able to connect with them, again, that's where that credibility comes in. So great job, David. A lot of stuff to retain. And again, Apri Kind of like Natalie already mentioned it, crumble like a cookie under pressure. A lot of really connects right there. It's really, really good. All right, some of the phrases that we can improve on. Someone mentioned the phrase every moment, right? It should be every moment. The word every moment is like a double plural. Like the word every already is giving you the key that there's going to be more than one. So in this case, every moment would be the way to pronounce that. Sometimes other people's happiness is our happiness. That was a really good quote by Nancy, so I like that one. Next one was be more confident. It should have been said be more confident. So confidence is like when you have an S at the end is typically a noun, like I have confidence, right? You are confident is like an adjective. So when you're describing yourself, you would say I'm more confident. Instead of confidence, I have confidence. So make sure we get the plural. Same thing with years, right? Someone mentioned 28 year old. You want to say 28 years. The number is just a random number. The actual unit is years, right? 28 ounces, gallons, it doesn't really matter, but the years needs to be plural in that one right there. Another fun quote was strangers can make me happy. To see a different viewpoint, that's just really good, where you can kind of learn from other people. And okay, so we have, I think you left it on purpose, Chris, we never needed more actions. Okay, so I think you left it, okay, I don't know what that is. All right, that's pretty much it. A lot of really great phrases that you guys can really hold on to and use. And again, just plurals is really the key of the day, making sure certain things are singular, certain things are plural. And if you make a mistake, you know, it can kind of change the whole context of the sentence. Also, I only heard the word multiply once, unless and I said it in my speech. So I heard from me. Back to you, Miss GE, Madam GE.
Thank you so much, Ben. Next, we have App Counter. Please, Toastmaster Rendra.
Thank you, G. Well, you are giving me the place, and that's good news because I add some data on my report. Here you go. You are now seeing my slides, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, seeing my slides, it is actually easy for you to digest what information are available there. This Excel based on Alicia Curtis courtesy. Thank you, Alicia. You can see in these counter reports in the left set of the lexicals, you can see what the lexical means and what is the non-lexical means. We can see so oftenly used exaggeratedly, what you call it, excessively. And then number 3, after the okay. That's for the lexical parts. And for the non-lexical parts, we can see is always number 1. It was counted 24 times, and then for 22 times, and repeated word 10 times. And I believe it's made to remind us that we somehow can avoid those unnecessary lexicals on the lexical by continuously speaking, learning to speak in English. The more we are speaking in English, I believe we will increase our skill to avoid those unnecessary lexicals and non-lexicals. I think that's all because it's already clear. I will copy it and give to the chat box for you to take a lessons and improve in your next speech. I think that's all. Go back to Keisa.
All right, thank you so much for both Ben and Rendra for giving their reports. And once again, I apologize for the misscheduling. And also I did a mistake in the agenda where I mispronounced some names. So I'm sorry for that. I'm going to be frank. I've been looking at emails all day. I think that was starting to jumble my mind. But yeah, again, everyone was very supportive and the meeting was very dynamic and went really well. It was so nice to see a lot of new faces from Takamatsu Toastmasters. I was having back and forth with Dr. David here. It's a very interesting club. I think one day I'm going to join it, see and meet everyone again for the second time. So starting from the beginning of the meeting, we started earlier, 15 minutes earlier, which I think was amazing because again, wasn't expecting, I think, to see many new people come in, but because we started earlier, especially Miss Natalie could introduce everyone. There was a round of short introductions where we got to know where everyone was from. And then the first session was again by Dr. David Cragen. It was very insightful, well-crafted, and it was in time, which that was very important. And we also could put in the little Q&A session where everyone could ask their questions about high impact communication. It's very important, not just for our professional and academic conversations, I think, because in our day-to-day conversations, we also need to remember it's not about what we say that matters or the words, but what people remember. I really like that quote. So again, thank you so much, Dr. David Cragen. And then the next, we have all of the amazing role takers. First from the timer, which was Toastmaster Chris from Surabaya Toastmasters Club. Thank you for joining us. You did such an efficient job, even though we couldn't introduce you in the beginning, but you were very efficient with the background, the colors. You came in prepared, so great job on that. And then, of course, the counter. The report was very detailed, very specific, even though I talked for just a bit, but I also caught that I said the so's and the likes a couple times. So that was amazing how detailed the report was, so we could see the specific fillers that we used. So great job, Toastmaster Rendra. And then for Mr. Ben, he's not here, but he also did an amazing job, of course. It's always nice to know how a native English speaker caught on to the phrases or the grammatical errors that we as the non-native speakers don't realize when we're speaking. So that's always insightful and awesome. And the meeting, of course, the flow was really well. We were ahead of time, actually. The TTM session, which was by Nancy. I think this is not Nancy's first time. Is this your first time, Nancy?
I think this is the second.
Second time. It was amazing. I really loved all the questions. It was unique and also concise. So it was open to interpretation and all the speakers came with their great stories. So great questions as always. Nancy, it was a very fun table topics session. And overall, very efficient with time, very fun, a lot of new people with new stories. And I can't wait to meet everyone from Takamatsu Toastmasters again one day. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a very great meeting. Back to Tom, to Miss Natalie.
Alicia.
Okay, back to Tom, Alicia.
Thank you very much, Keisha, and thank you very much for keeping it under wraps. Let's give Keisha and the team a huge round of applause. We're actually running almost 20, I'm really sorry, but we're running 24 minutes ahead of time. Doesn't usually happen, does it, at a Toastmasters meeting? But when you've got yours truly in sight, because yours truly loves to start a meeting on time and end a meeting on time, or finish at least 20 to 30 minutes early, and we have achieved that tonight. We are now going to go to my favorite part, the best of the best. So, Natalie, let's shout it out to our best peoples.
Thank you, Alicia. In Bhinneka, we have a saying, if we can finish it before time, we will do it. So we'll go by that rule. Not to fill in the time, but to just, to do what it's supposed to do. And if we can finish it quicker, that's better. Now it's the Hall of Fame. You have all voted for your favorite table topic speakers. We had a very tight competition tonight. 3 people got the same amount of votes, so I made the final call. But first, let's give it up for our best speaker, the one and only Toastmaster Apri Widodo.
Wait, bro. I would like to take a photos of you. Wait, hold on. Okay, cool. 3, 2, and 1. superb. Done.
Thank you, Rendra. Enjoy your 5 seconds of fame, Apri. And the next one is me, best evaluator.
Yay! Wait, Nat.
I made the certificate and then I enjoy it too.
Wait. Need to pin you first. Okay, cool. Wait. Okay. 3, 2, and 1. Superb.
Thank you. Last but the best part is the best table topic speakers. And drum roll, please.
Boom, 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 boom,
Drum,
boom,
drum,
boom,
drum. It goes
boom.
to Toastmaster Masayo from Takam
Masayo.
Toastmasters Club.
Okay,
Thank you
wait.
so much.
I would like
Congratulations.
to pin Toastmaster Masayo. Okay. And 3, 2, and 1. Super.
Thank you very much, everyone.
You are most welcome.
All right. Thank you very much to all of our winners, Natalie, Apri, and Masayo. I think it might be a good opportunity, guys, if we get some feedback from our guests tonight. What do you reckon? I reckon we'll start with David. Sir, how did you enjoy our meeting tonight?
Really fun and dynamic. I visited many clubs around the world, both in person and online, and I was smiling virtually this whole meeting. I enjoyed exchanging notes with some of the members, and yes, it's just a very, as mentioned before, dynamic club, fun club. I loved how you overcame mistakes. That's easy to happen in a meeting. I did it yesterday in another meeting. I jumped forward when I skipped something. So we all do that, but I loved how you recovered. So it was really a fun meeting, and I'd like to attend in the future sometime too, even though this was at 7 a.m. on my time on Sunday morning.
Of course, it is always hard to get up at, at a very early time. And I know because I used to be a program quality director in District 100. So I was up at 2 o'clock every morning for almost 3 years. It was a wonderful time. But yes, I understand. We're going to go to Japan now. Masayo, how did you enjoy tonight's meeting?
Thank you, everyone, for having me as a guest. I have had a super fantastic time with you. So engaging, very supportive, and stimulating. I have had a lot of takeaways thanks to your wonderful and well-organized meeting. David is one of our members. I was very impressed with his educational speech, and also all the role takers so precise and very educationally giving advice and suggestions to the fellow members. And I'd like to come back to visit your club once in a while if you do not mind. And I'm very happy to be here. And thank you very much for giving me a very good invitation, David, and a very warm welcome to all the members here. Thank you. And please visit our club as well.
Absolutely. We will take the opportunity to definitely make contact with you and to join your meeting. I'm going to go to Ray. Ray, how did you find tonight's meeting?
Wow, so cute. Cute cat. Such a cute cat. Thank you very much for yes, I'm really happy to join your meeting today. And then yeah, it was very energetic and the engaged members having the feedback as well. So it was very good time to learn many things about me. And then also, I'd like, same as Masayo, I'd like to come back the meeting if you don't mind, so as a guest. And then, yeah, so if you are interested in Japanese Japanese club. So please visit us and contact me. So thank you very much. And then yeah, so thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you. I'll go
Ray
to
is a
Ness.
super mom and president of the club.
Oh,
because
lovely. So we'll have to definitely make a visit. I was trying to see if we can make a visit this month, and attend. I always like going clubbing. I think a few of us like going clubbing, so we can do like an international clubbing day. Naomi, you've had a wonderful table topic. How did you find tonight's meeting?
Thank you. I'm sorry to be late. And thanks for TM David. I could join your very lively Toastmasters meeting in Indonesia. And I didn't notice the day of the words. I forgot. Anyway, I didn't get any information about it, so I couldn't use it. But this is very nice Toastmasters Club in Indonesia, especially time not so difference, Japan time 8 p.m. That's very convenient for us, I think. So if possible, I'd love to join again. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, we would definitely love to have your participation again. I'm sure the guys would definitely welcome you to every and any meeting that you may wish to attend. So thank you very much, Naomi. And not last and not least, well, last but not least, is Chris, who is coming in from Surabaya Toastmasters. Chris, how did you find tonight's meeting?
Yeah, I find tonight's meeting very fun, and I feel like the 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 people from outside of Indonesia makes the meeting more alive, because usually in my other clubs I have no international members joining, and with Bhinneka, I see people from Japan, from US, and other countries. It made me feel like, wow, Toastmasters is much bigger than just a public speaking club. It's a way for us to connect and a way for us to meet a lot of new people from places that are very far away. So thank you very much for DTM Natalie for inviting me to tonight's meeting, and I'm sure I would like to join your future meeting. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. All right, fantastic. Just a question, Chris, is your club meeting online or is it 100% in person?
It's online and offline. It's hybrid. So we conduct an on-site meeting and we also do Zoom meetings at the same time.
Okay, cool. So maybe if you want to put your details into the chat, I'm sure, again, clubbing is a part of it. And yeah, I think we would all love to go to that one. David, are any of your American clubs online or are they in person?
My American club is online. However, we meet at 1 o'clock East Coast time, which I think would be a little bit challenge for you.
Yes, I would love to come at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I might just skip that at the moment. Maybe in the...
We do have one Australian member, though. I forget which
okay.
part of Australia he's from, but it was 3 a.m. his time.
Yeah, probably Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, or Hobart, one of those, or Canberra, one of those places. All right, and I can put my details in the chat. I'm in 2 American clubs, 2 Australian clubs, and a Malaysian club. If anyone wants to come to any of those, let me know, and I can send the details to Natalie, and she can forward them on to you. All right, that now completes my role as the Toastmaster of the day. I'm now going to hand back to our club VPA, and that is Natalie. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Alicia Curtis. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Yay!
Hey, Alicia!
Thank you, Alicia. Love your energy, love your wit, and also your tight grip on the whole agenda. So thank you so much. You're a big part of how we can manage to finish before time. So thanks, Alicia. Welcome anytime. Alicia is our honorary member because of how often she came to our club and helping out with various roles. So thank you. Again, I thank everyone who has visited us. David, and then Masayo, Naomi, Ray, Alicia, Chris, and Apri. Thank you so much. You guys made this meeting engaging and dynamic. And for the next meeting, we usually meet every first and third Sunday. But because our next meeting on the 18th of May is exactly the same date with our district contest and conference. So we will move the time and we will move the date into further date. We still need to discuss onto which date or time that we will move that particular meeting on. So if you want to come, please contact me or Rendra, and we will give you updates once we finalize the schedule. After all, thank you again for coming. We love your energy. We enjoy the meeting, and we'll see you in the next meeting. The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.
I'll say
Thank
this
you,
is one of the most
everyone.
fun meetings I've been to